Daniel Reeves was the kind of cop everyone admired until one rainy night he turned off his bodycam, vanished into the darkness, and exposed the horrifying truth that the town's most trusted officer had been its greatest predator all along. Officer Daniel Reeves had built a reputation that made him untouchable. To his colleagues, he was the model officer, calm under pressure, polite with the public, and never once written up for misconduct. He had a way of speaking that made people feel safe, a steady gaze that reassured victims, and a smile that disarmed even the most suspicious. In Bridgeview, a quiet suburban town where crime was rare, Daniel Reeves was the face of safety. But the truth was far from what anyone imagined. On the night of May 14th, the rain poured in thin sheets over empty streets, turning the town into a maze of silver reflections. Reeves' patrol car crept through the darkness, its wipers moving rhythmically. He spoke into his radio with his usual calm tone, reporting nothing unusual. At 11:47 p.m., his vehicle slowed down near the edge of an industrial area where abandoned warehouses loomed like dark giants. The dashcam captured him stepping out of the car, the faint hiss of rain swallowing his footsteps. Then, his bodycam light blinked once and went dark. 27 minutes passed with no recording, no movement, no explanation. When the bodycam flickered back to life, Daniel was seated in his cruiser, rainwater glistening on his uniform. He adjusted his collar, took a deep breath, and calmly reported that his patrol was clear. There was no mention of the stop, no paperwork, no digital record of any interaction during that missing half hour. The dispatch logs showed nothing irregular, but the silence in the footage told another story, one that would soon tear apart the illusion surrounding him. The next morning, Daniel arrived at the precinct as if nothing had happened. He made jokes at the coffee machine, handed in his nightly report, and even stayed late to help a rookie finish paperwork. To everyone, he seemed perfectly normal. Yet somewhere in the back of his mind, a hidden satisfaction lingered. He had done something that couldn't be undone, something he believed no one would ever discover. For now, the rain had washed away the evidence, and the cameras had failed to capture the truth. Bridgeview slept peacefully that night, unaware that the man they trusted most had just crossed a line from which there was no return. 2 days after that silent night, a complaint reached the Bridgeview Police Department. It came from a woman who walked into the station with trembling hands, her voice barely steady enough to speak. She said she had been pulled over by Officer Daniel Reeves on the same rainy night. What began as a routine traffic stop had turned into something that made her too afraid to drive again. Her words were cautious, her eyes filled with fear, but her story didn't match the image the department had of Daniel. The officers at the front desk took her statement, filing it away as routine procedure, but whispers started immediately. Nobody wanted to believe her. Daniel Reeves, the most disciplined man on the force, was beyond suspicion, or so they thought. When the Internal Affairs Division began reviewing the footage from that night, they noticed something unusual. The dashcam showed the patrol car stopping near the industrial area, exactly as the woman had described. Yet, the bodycam footage cut off at the same time she claimed the encounter began. For 27 minutes, there was only static silence. That gap was enough to raise questions. When investigators confronted Daniel, he said the camera malfunctioned because of the rain. A reasonable explanation on the surface. The department accepted it without argument, but one detective wasn't convinced. Detective Sarah Monroe had been part of the department for nearly a decade, and she knew technology didn't fail that conveniently. She requested Reeves' patrol logs from previous months and began comparing timestamps. A pattern slowly emerged. Small gaps, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 10, appeared in several patrols over the past 6 months. All of them took place in isolated areas with poor lighting and no surveillance. When Monroe tried to dig deeper, she met resistance from inside the department. Supervisors told her not to waste time chasing errors. Reeves was their star officer, a man who represented everything the department wanted the public to see. But Monroe couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The more she looked, the more inconsistencies she found: missing GPS data, unfiled stop reports, erased dashcam clips. The complaint that everyone wanted to dismiss became the spark of something far larger. Behind the badge, behind the clean record, a dangerous secret was beginning to surface. And soon the department would realize they were protecting a predator hiding in plain sight. Detective Monroe's persistence finally paid off when a search warrant was approved for Officer Reeves' home. The department wanted to handle it quietly, keeping the investigation under wraps to avoid scandal. On a gray morning, a small team entered his neat suburban house. Everything appeared ordinary, the furniture perfectly arranged, photos of smiling colleagues framed on the wall, and a row of polished medals displayed on a shelf. But Monroe's instincts told her the surface calm was only a mask. In the basement, behind a heavy wooden workbench, she found a locked drawer secured with a small digital keypad. When the forensic team cracked it open, they discovered an encrypted flash drive and several neatly organized notebooks. The flash drive contained dozens of hidden files, each labeled with dates, times, and coded initials. When investigators decrypted them, what they uncovered sent chills through the room. The files held confidential patrol data and location maps, but also photographs that should never have existed. They weren't official evidence, and none of them were logged in police databases. Each image corresponded with a night when Daniel's bodycam had mysteriously gone dark. The notebooks were filled with handwritten notes that read like private case studies, observing patterns, movements, and behaviors of people he had encountered during traffic stops. It became clear that Reeves had been using his position not just to enforce the law, but to study and select his targets. Detective Monroe realized she was staring at the work of someone who operated with precision and patience. He had planned every move, chosen moments when cameras couldn't see, and erased digital traces that could lead back to him. What disturbed her most was a section of notes labeled Phase 2. The handwriting was sharp, deliberate, and unnervingly calm, describing plans that suggested he intended to escalate beyond intimidation. When the evidence was shown to department leaders, panic spread. The chief wanted everything contained before the press found out. But by then, it was too late. One of the encrypted folders had already been shared to an external server, meaning someone or something was protecting his secret. Reeves had anticipated the investigation long before it began. What seemed like a simple case of misconduct was turning into something far more complex. And the department was about to realize they had underestimated the very man they once trusted completely. The morning Daniel Reeves was supposed to face questioning, his house stood empty. His patrol car, assigned for routine duty, never left the driveway. When officers went inside, they found the television still playing the local news and a half-finished cup of coffee on the table. It looked as if he had simply walked out and never returned. Within hours, his phone was disconnected, his credit cards inactive, and his GPS tracker disabled. The department launched a statewide manhunt, convinced he was on the run. But the more they searched, the stranger it became. 2 days later, his cruiser was discovered abandoned on a remote logging road outside town, the keys still in the ignition. His badge and name tag were placed neatly on the passenger seat as if he had resigned in silence. The search team fanned out through the surrounding forest, combing through mud and thick brush, but there was no trace of him. It was as if he had vanished into the earth. Then, a small trail of footprints led investigators to a weathered cabin hidden deep among the trees. Public records showed it had once belonged to Reeves' late uncle, a man who died years ago and left the property untouched. Inside, the cabin was eerily quiet, coated in dust except for one recently used room. In the corner stood a table with several open maps of Bridgeview, marked with red circles around certain roads and neighborhoods. A generator hummed faintly, powering a single bulb that illuminated an unfinished journal. The writing in the journal matched Reeves' handwriting. Each page seemed like a confession in fragments, thoughts about justice, control, and cleansing the world of people he believed didn't deserve protection. One chilling line stood out to Monroe: "They trust the uniform too much." That's why it works. Behind a false wall in the basement, investigators found a hidden chamber containing personal belongings that matched individuals reported missing over the past 2 years. Each item was carefully stored and labeled, but Reeves himself was nowhere to be found. It became clear he had planned his disappearance long before the investigation began. As night fell over the forest, Monroe realized something terrifying. This wasn't an escape born from fear. It was a performance. Reeves wanted them to find the cabin. He wanted them to know he was still out there, watching from somewhere they couldn't reach. Weeks turned into months, and the search for Daniel Reeves consumed the entire region. News stations ran constant updates, the public shared sightings that led nowhere, and online forums filled with theories. Some believed he had taken his own life in the dense woods, while others were certain he was living under a new identity, blending into another small town just like Bridgeview. Detective Monroe refused to close the case. She returned to the cabin several times, each visit revealing new details she had somehow missed before. In a narrow crevice behind the fireplace, she discovered a metal box wrapped in plastic. Inside were more encrypted drives, fragments of uniforms, and a photograph that made her stomach twist. A group picture from the police academy, with Daniel standing proudly among his classmates, a red circle drawn around his own face. The data on the drives was eventually decoded, exposing a network of hidden storage accounts and anonymous reports. Each folder contained names of people who had vanished in nearby counties over several years, most of whom were never connected to Reeves before. It became evident that Bridgeview had only been part of a larger pattern. He had been operating for longer than anyone suspected, using his transfers between precincts as a way to start over each time questions got too close. Every department had praised him for his dedication, never realizing he was using his position to mask a far darker obsession. Then came the final discovery. A group of hikers stumbled upon a shallow grave near a riverbank not far from where his patrol car had been found. Forensic testing confirmed the remains belonged to one of the missing individuals listed in Reeves' files. Near the grave was a weathered notebook wrapped in a plastic bag. The last entry simply read, "They never look behind the badge." After that, the trail went completely cold. Despite nationwide alerts, Daniel Reeves was never captured or confirmed dead. The FBI's profile described him as a man who believed himself invincible, someone who found satisfaction in the illusion of order while quietly creating chaos beneath it. Bridgeview slowly returned to normal life, but fear lingered like a shadow. The symbol of a police badge, once trusted without question, now carried a new, haunting meaning. A reminder that evil can hide behind authority, waiting for the right moment to turn off the camera and disappear into the dark.